Jean-Jacques Rousseau, one of the most influential philosophers of the 18th century, had radical ideas about education that challenged the traditional norms of his time. His thoughts on education were not just theoretical, they were revolutionary, shaping modern educational practices and the way we think about childhood development. Born in 1712 in Geneva, Rousseau was a man of contradictions, a lover of nature, yet deeply critical of society. But perhaps his most enduring legacy lies in his revolutionary ideas about education, which he laid out in his 1762 book Emile, or On Education. In Emile, Rousseau proposed a radical approach to educating children, one based on the idea that education should align with the natural development of a child, rather than forcing them into societal molds. He believed that humans were born good, and it was society that corrupted them. Rousseau's concept of natural education is at the heart of his philosophy. He argued that children should be allowed to develop according to their own pace and nature, free from the artificial constraints of conventional schooling. In his view, the world around them was the best teacher. Rather than memorizing facts from textbooks, children should learn through direct experience. Rousseau believed that the natural world would provide them with the knowledge they needed, as they grew, experimented, and interacted with their surroundings. Imagine a classroom where children are encouraged to explore their environment, touch, feel, and ask questions. This was Rousseau's vision, a hands-on, sensory experience that fostered real understanding and curiosity. In Rousseau's ideal system, the role of the teacher was not that of a strict authoritarian figure. Instead, the educator was a guide, helping the child navigate the world around them. The teacher's job was to nurture the child's natural curiosity and to protect them from the corrupting influences of society. The teacher should be a silent observer when necessary, stepping in only when the child needed guidance or protection. This approach allowed children to learn at their own pace, without unnecessary interference or imposition. Rousseau was a strong advocate for freedom in education. He believed that children should not be confined to rigid rules, memorization, or authoritarian control. Instead, they should be given the space to think for themselves and form their own judgments. Freedom, according to Rousseau, didn't mean a lack of discipline, it meant allowing the child to develop their own sense of responsibility and moral understanding. In his view, children should learn from natural consequences, rather than from punishment or reward. Rousseau's philosophy of education wasn't only about intellectual development, it was also deeply concerned with the moral growth of the child. He believed that education should foster a deep sense of empathy, fairness, and respect for others. Rousseau argued that children should learn to make ethical decisions through their own experiences and interactions with others. They should not be simply taught right and wrong, they should feel and understand it. Rousseau's critiques weren't just directed at education, they were aimed at society itself. He believed that civilization, with all its rules and institutions, had corrupted humanity's natural goodness. Education, in his view, was a way to shield children from the societal pressures that led to inequality, greed, and competition. In his educational model, Rousseau envisioned children being protected from the negative influences of society, especially in their formative years. Only after they had developed a strong sense of self would they be ready to face the complexities of social life. Rousseau's ideas on education were revolutionary for his time, and they continue to influence educational theory today. His belief in the importance of freedom, experiential learning, and moral development has shaped modern educational systems and alternative schools that prioritize creativity and self-expression. Today, we see echoes of Rousseau's ideas in progressive educational models, where the focus is not on conforming to rigid standards, but on nurturing the individuality and curiosity of each child. Jean-Jacques Rousseau believed that education was not just about teaching facts, it was about shaping the heart and mind of a person. His vision was one where children could grow in freedom, discover their true potential, and become morally responsible individuals.